Hey guys, Andrew Esquivel here, and today I'm actually not going to be talking about the fish or the shrimp or what have you. I want to talk about mossballs. So, these cute little circular plants that we get oftentimes for our shrimp to graze on. And, they're cool, they're fun, they're slow growing, supposedly. And I say supposedly because my big moss ball. That is one moss ball. It is massive. And I'm actually going to take it out here because I like to talk about it. Ooh. Ah, boy. So, this is a moss ball. And I'm trying to get my camera to focus on this here, but point is, this is not small, and I've had this moss ball for a year and a half to 2 years now. The problem, real moss balls don't grow that quick. In fact, the problem with it is, in general, according to a rumor that I can't verify at this time, moss balls here in America are not actually even moss balls, or at least not Marimo moss balls. See, I believe the information goes something like this, but if I'm wrong, please go ahead fact check me on this one because I would really like to know myself. Moss balls are supposedly originated from Japan. Now, when the fish trade started using moss balls, the moss balls were being poached to the point where there were very few left. And the government decided to do something about it and listed it as a protected species of plants. The Japanese government, that is. So, after that, there was a ban on poaching them, and the export-import laws, or in this case export, from Japan, import to anywhere else, became very strict, and getting a moss ball, a real Marimo moss ball, became virtually impossible. So what we have here in the United States is actually a slow-growing type of algae, not a moss ball. At least not a Marimo moss ball. So that's the theory, or the conspiracy theory behind these. So then why do pet stores get to still call them Marimo moss balls? I think at some level, if this is true, the pet stores simply don't know this, and they're not trying to deceive you. That's just what they're told it is, and I don't think anyone's going to look at it and say, that's not a moss ball. I know from my many years of experience in Japan. Yeah, no. I've yet to see anyone talk about this, besides a very few select people who really know their aquatic plants and have traveled a lot. So, to put things into perspective, this moss ball was only about an inch in diameter when I first got it. And look at it now, it's massive. Another thing about moss balls are, they're circular because in nature, I guess they're supposed to roll around. And there's something very, very specific that I did to my moss balls that most people strictly recommend against doing. I took fish line weights, those little weights that you put on your fish line when you're going fishing, and I put them on the moss balls specifically so they would not move. Because back when I had a 30 breeder, I had a kind of a show tank before I did breeding stuff. And I had about 12 or 14 moss balls that I had lined in a row. I didn't want them moving. Now, people said that, they'll start to die and sides of it will start to decay and whatnot. And, I never got brown spots. I never wrung them out or squeezed them like they said to do once in a while. And it turns out you really don't need to because, dude, that is a freaking huge moss ball. Or algae, whatever it actually is. And because of that, I really do want to know, what are these? Because if the protected species kind of thing is true, What is that? I want to know, like, the actual species of these things. Now, I've given away plenty of moss balls because these things eventually kind of break down like you see in the back there, and they split into, like, multiple balls. And I guess that's how we get multiple moss balls. This one looks like it's kind of fallen apart, and to an extent it is, but I can assure you, these things split at a certain point and then become separate ones. Or if you clamp them together, or keep it clamped shut like I did, because there's always a spot on the ball where it's like opened, so I put that little clamp to keep it closed. And this is a good example of one I purposely kept closed and didn't move or anything. And there's no brown spots on it, it's just one gigantic moss ball, although it is trying to turn into a second one right here. It's like reproducing, I guess you'd say. Divide and conquer my tanks. So, I just stepped in a bunch of water. I want to figure out what they are, so I'm asking you guys, in case you might know. Huh. Interesting, huh?